I should have seen the signs long before I opened that cursed RSVP list. Should have known something was off the moment she suggested we keep it intimate, her word, not mine. Only close friends and people who mattered. I didn't argue. After all, this was supposed to be our big day. And if I'm being honest, I didn't have many people I cared to invite anymore. Not after what he did. His name is Darren. Darren Wells. A name that once sounded like nothing more than a high school footnote, until he detonated my life with a smug grin and a handful of lies. But we'll get to that. Let me back up. I'm Aaron Mitchell, 34, owner of a mid-sized construction firm outside Denver. Built it from the ground up after clawing my way out of a small town where kids like me were expected to either join the military, get a forklift job, or end up in a ditch. I picked none of the above. Worked, saved, hustled, made something, built something. And then I met Elise. She was the kind of woman who made you forget the world had ever been cruel. The kind that walked into a room and made it feel like morning even if you were sitting in the dark. At least, that's how I saw her. God, I was a fool. We dated for 3 years. She said I made her feel safe, and I guess that should have tipped me off. Safe like a harbor you leave once the storm's over. Safe like a plan B. But I thought I was her anchor. Turns out, I was the dock she was tying herself to while waiting for the next yacht. I proposed on the cliffs in Big Sur. Sunset. Champagne. The works. She cried, kissed me like I was the only man in the world. I should have been suspicious of how quickly she said yes. Not a hint of hesitation. Not a pause. Like she'd rehearsed it. Then came the planning. The dress, the menu, the venue, the fake laugh arguments about tablecloth shades. She handled most of it. I trusted her. I was busy with work, and she seemed to know what she wanted. I was happy to step back and just make her happy. Until one night, exactly 23 days before the wedding, I got a call from our venue manager, Marla. "Hey Aaron," she said, casual as anything. "Quick question. Just confirming Darren Wells and guest. Do they need the vegan option?" I stopped breathing. Darren who? Wells. He RSVP'd yes. You marked him down as one of the bride's guests. He added a +1. My hand clenched so tight around the phone I heard plastic creak. My ears buzzed. Darren Wells. In our wedding. Our wedding. I ended the call with some pathetic lie about checking the list. Then I pulled up the guest spreadsheet Elise kept on her laptop. She'd left it open earlier, too trusting, too arrogant. There he was. Row 37. Darren Wells +1. In the same section as her college friends. She hadn't told me. She invited the man who ruined my reputation. The man who cost me my first company, my best friend, and 2 years of my life rebuilding from the ashes he lit. And she didn't even tell me. I didn't confront her that night. Didn't scream, didn't rage. No, that would have been too easy. Too expected. Instead, I poured a glass of whiskey, sat in my study, and stared out the window for a long, long time. Then I opened a new folder on my laptop and named it Exit Plan. Because if Elise thought she could betray me and walk down the aisle like nothing happened, she clearly didn't know the man she was marrying. Darren Wells. The name alone made my skin crawl. Elise knew that. We talked about him once, only once, and even then, I brushed over the details, not because I didn't remember, but because it still made me sick to say his name. Here's the short version. Back when I was 26, I'd partnered with a guy named Tyler Kane, college buddy, roommate, someone I trusted more than most people trusted their own blood. We started a contracting business. Small renovations, property flips, nothing fancy. But we were hungry, smart, and stubborn as hell. Within 18 months, we had 6 full-time employees and were negotiating with real estate developers. That's when Darren Wells waltzed in. A finance consultant with perfect hair, overpriced shoes, and a smile that never touched his eyes. Tyler brought him in, a connection from my cousin's firm. Darren offered to help us secure expansion capital. Low interest, fast return, minimal risk. All the usual phrases parasites use to sell poison. I didn't trust him from day one. But Tyler, he practically worshipped the guy. He's legit, Aaron. This is how we take it to the next level. I let it happen. 6 weeks later, we signed the paperwork. And 6 days after that, everything fell apart. Turns out Darren had looped us into a fraudulent investment structure tied to a bankrupt development scheme. The fine print buried us. Darren walked with a hefty fee, Tyler disappeared to Florida, and I was left holding the bag for hundreds of thousands in defaulted debt. My name was on every dotted line. Darren made sure of that. It took me 2 years to clear my name, 1 lawsuit, and selling off every asset I had to avoid bankruptcy. I rebuilt from scratch, alone. And now Elise, the woman I was going to marry, invited him to our wedding. Without telling me. It was almost impressive, the level of betrayal. The kind of thing that takes planning, nerve, and a total lack of conscience. The next day, I acted like nothing happened. I kissed her goodbye. I told her I had a client meeting. Then I called the venue and canceled the booking. Not postponed. Canceled. Lost the deposit? Didn't care. The moment I saw Darren's name, the wedding stopped being real. It was already a lie. Then I canceled the catering, the floral arrangements, the band. Piece by piece, I unraveled the whole damn of it, like pulling threads from a gown she hadn't even tried on yet. She didn't know any of this, of course. I made sure of that. And while she was busy obsessing over what shade of ivory made her skin glow, I was working with a friend in IT who helped me duplicate her phone. Legally? Questionable. Necessary? Absolutely. That's when it got worse. Because Darren wasn't just invited. They'd been talking. Not, oh, we're just friends talking. Not closure talking. No. Flirty messages. Subtle suggestions. A message she sent him just last week. I still think about what we had. Part of me wonders what life would have been like if we hadn't lost touch. Lost touch? They had dinner. Twice. Oh, Elise. You really thought I was blind. You thought I'd stand beside you in a tuxedo, kiss you in front of our families, while your plan B sat 5 rows back smiling at the mess he made. No. This time, I make the mess. But mine's going to be clean, cold, and surgical. No shouting. No broken furniture. No public drama. I was going to let the wedding go on. Let her put on the dress. Let the guests gather. Let the music start. And then, disappear. Let her explain that. Let him comfort her. Let them both figure out the cost of betrayal the hard way. I didn't sleep the night after I saw those messages. Not because I was emotional. I was way past the heartbroken phase. I didn't feel pain anymore. I felt clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. Like a broken bone that finally resets, only now it's stronger, harder, and it doesn't bend for anyone. The man she thought she was marrying, kind, reliable, predictable Aaron? He died the moment I read. I still think about what we had. The man left behind was building something else. A reckoning. By Monday, I had a plan. Not just cancel the wedding. Not just vanish. I was going to leave her exactly what she deserved. Confusion, exposure, and a nice, gaping hole where her future used to be. I contacted an old buddy from my early contractor days, Caleb Ruiz. Guy was sharp as a whip, good with logistics, and more importantly, discreet. He owed me a favor from a time I bailed him out of a permit disaster with the city. I asked for one thing. Clear my name from the wedding registry, booking contracts, and payments. Scrub me out like I was never part of this circus. And Caleb? He got it done in 48 hours. Meanwhile, Elise was prancing through cake tastings and final fittings like she was starring in a Pinterest board. She even gushed to her maid of honor, Talia, that she was finally getting closure with Darren. Closure. Is that what we're calling it now? Closure in a dimly lit restaurant? Closure with wine and eyeliner and 3-inch heels? Closure that starts with reminiscing and ends in a hotel room? I didn't confront her. Why would I warn a thief that I've got her on camera? I kept playing the role, sweet, distracted, overworked fiancée. I even took her to brunch on Sunday, listened to her babble about centerpieces while she giggled into her mimosa. The whole time I sat there thinking, you have no idea I already burned the stage you're about to walk out on. By the following Friday, the venue was gone, the band was booked elsewhere, and the caterers? Let's just say they weren't happy, but money talks. And I paid them twice what they were owed to make sure they never spoke to Elise again. The invitations were sent already, but no problem, my next step fixed that. 2. I created a private wedding website, the one Elise refused to build because it's so tacky. I updated the RSVP link with a new message. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding between Aaron and Elise has been postponed. Thank you for your understanding. Then I bought a burner phone, because I wasn't going to text Elise when the hammer dropped. No, I was going to leave her a letter. Something she'd find the morning of the wedding, when she was zipping up her dress and sipping champagne with her bridesmaids. But first, I had to set the final piece in place. And that was the guest of honor, Darren Wells. He was flying in 2 days before the wedding, staying at a luxury downtown hotel, just a few blocks from the venue. I knew because Elise booked it. On our joint card. Classy. So I called the hotel, posed as Darren, asked to upgrade the room, and changed the name on the reservation for privacy reasons. All it took was some charm and a few well-placed details from Elise's emails, which I had full access to. Then I rerouted the key pickup to me. And just like that, I had access to Darren's hotel suite. Not for confrontation. Not for revenge in the messy, illegal sense. I just wanted to leave him a gift. And maybe, if fate was kind, they'd both get to unwrap it together. The room was perfect. Top floor, corner suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. The kind of place a man like Darren Wells would feel right at home in. Leather, chrome, too many mirrors. All style. No soul. I stood there in the silence, soaking in the irony. He was probably halfway through a Madeira gin and tonic while I was setting up the beginning of his end. I wasn't there to break anything. I was there to deliver clarity. On the edge of the king-sized bed, I placed a black gift bag. Sleek. Expensive. Inside it, a printed copy of the hotel confirmation email Elise sent using our account. Screenshots of their text messages, blown up and stapled. The receipt for the dinner she bought him last month charged to my card. And a handwritten note, just 6 words. She cheats on everyone eventually. Enjoy. Beside the bag, I laid down something even better, a single photo of Elise and me, taken 6 months earlier. We're on the back porch. She's laughing, arms around my neck. It looks like love. Maybe it even was. But now it was evidence. I didn't leave my name. Didn't need to. Darren would figure it out. And if he didn't, well, Elise would. I left the suite with everything just as I found it. Not a pillow out of place. By the time Darren checked in, his fate, and hers, would be sealed under hotel lighting and velvet curtains. Just the way those people like it. Clean, pretty, expensive. Like sin dressed for Sunday. Meanwhile, back at our apartment, Elise was knee-deep in wedding prep. Final dress fitting, manicure, brunch with her girls. Her world was spinning exactly how she wanted it, centered around her. She didn't notice that the wedding website was down. She didn't realize the venue had been stripped for an art exhibit. She didn't know I'd rerouted all her hair and makeup appointments to a non-existent studio across town. But most importantly, she had no clue that I wouldn't be there when she walked down the aisle. I started packing my things 2 days out. Quietly. Strategically. I didn't take much, just the essentials. Clothes, tools, documents. Left the furniture, the shared decor, everything she'd insisted on picking out to make this place feel like home. I left it all behind like a snake shedding dead skin. And the ring? Oh, I didn't pawn it. That'd be too easy. Instead, I taped it to the inside of the bathroom mirror, the one she used every morning while pretending I didn't exist. Right where her face would be when she looked in after waking up alone on what was supposed to be our wedding day. And under the ring, I left a second note. A promise means nothing to someone who lies for sport. I gave you everything. You gave me a front row seat to your betrayal. So I gave you back your freedom. Congratulations. You're single again. No name. No signature. Just the truth. That night, while Elise FaceTimed her bridesmaids in satin robes and drank champagne from a gold-rimmed flute, I was halfway to the mountains. My phone off. My future open. And back in the city, 2 fools were unwrapping the disaster they created. Wedding day. Supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Instead, it was the start of a symphony of unraveling. I imagined her waking up that morning, sunlight streaming through our bedroom window, smiling at her reflection, humming some romantic song while she twirled in her robe. I imagined her picking up her phone to check messages, bridesmaids, the florist, maybe a last little thinking of you from Darren. What she got instead was silence. The driver she booked for her wedding party never showed up, because he was never booked. The appointment confirmation she forwarded me weeks ago? I canceled it. The makeup artist? Hairstylist? Same story. The studio didn't exist. She probably chalked it up to a miscommunication, maybe scrambled to reschedule, maybe called Talia in a panic. But that panic, that was just the appetizer. The entree came when they arrived at the venue. Only, there was no venue. Instead of wedding decor, flowers, candles, and chairs, she'd walk into a brightly lit gallery. Abstract art on the walls. A sign at the front that read, "Welcome to the Walker Collection, on Fragility and Form." Poetic, really. And when she tried to call me, no service. Burner phone was long gone. My real phone? Airplane mode, battery yanked. Her number would ring into the void like all the lies she'd told me. Now let's talk about Darren. He checked into the hotel around noon. The clerk handed him his key with a smile, congratulated him on the special occasion. He probably grinned like the smug bastard he is, stepped into that elevator feeling 10 feet tall. Room 1423. Plush suite. A bottle of champagne on the side table, sent by Elise. And waiting on the bed, that black gift bag. I don't know how long he stared at the contents. Don't know if he opened it right away or poured himself a drink first. Maybe he thought it was some kinky surprise. A love note. Instead, he got evidence. Receipts. Screenshots. Me staring back at him from a photo with the woman he thought he was stealing. Maybe he laughed. Maybe he got angry. Maybe he panicked. All I know is he called her. 3 times. She didn't answer. Why? Because by then, Elise was having her meltdown at the venue. And when she finally did get back to her phone, smeared mascara, sweating through her custom gown, guess what she found? Voicemails from Darren. Angry. Confused. Accusatory. One of them said, "What the hell is this? Was I just your backup plan? Why would you let me walk into this blind?" I don't know what happened after that. I wasn't there. That was the point. I was 3 hours away, in a cabin I'd rented under a different name, sipping black coffee on a wooden porch and listening to the wind. I watched a fox wander out of the tree line and disappear into the woods. Peaceful. That's what justice feels like when it's clean. No yelling. No cops. No slashed tires or broken dishes. Just 2 liars, staring into the mirror I built and finally seeing themselves for what they are. And me? I wasn't bitter. I was done. She wanted to play with the past? She can live in it. Because the future? It's mine now. It took exactly 48 hours for the texts to start. They started polite. Predictable. "Aaron, where are you? I'm worried. Please call me." Then they shifted. Guilt trips dressed as concern. "We need to talk about what happened. You're making this so much worse than it needs to be." By day 3, the mask slipped. "You humiliated me. How could you do this to me in front of everyone? You owe me an explanation." "No, Elise. I owed you a future. You set it on fire and handed me the matchbook with a smile." The voicemails were better. In one of them, she was crying, "Real or not, who knows anymore? You disappeared. The venue was canceled. Everything was canceled. Everyone was asking questions I couldn't answer. My parents. Aaron, they think I'm a fraud. Is that what you wanted? To embarrass me? To destroy everything?" What I wanted was honesty. What I got was Darren Wells with a +1 on our wedding list. The kicker? She never once said sorry. Not once. Not in the calls. Not in the texts. Not in the voicemail that ended with, "You think you've won? You think this makes you better than me? You're pathetic." Yeah, that was the one where I stopped listening. Because I had one. She didn't even realize what I'd done yet. The wedding was canceled. Her reputation among her inner circle? Shattered. Her perfect life? Exposed in HD. And Darren? According to a little update from my friend Caleb, who was quietly keeping tabs, he'd checked out of the hotel 2 hours after arriving. Alone. He ghosted her. No Instagram posts. No social updates. No contact. Poetic. Meanwhile, I filed for dissolution of all joint assets. I froze the accounts, locked my credit, and pulled every dime I'd put into our apartment. I had a signed prenup. Ironically, she insisted on it, just in case. I kept the receipts. The money she spent on her dress? Gone. The designer heels she bought for the honeymoon? Left sitting on our bed, tags still on, like a forgotten shrine to delusion. Talia texted me the next week. "She's a mess. I don't know what happened between you two, but I've never seen her like this." I didn't reply. Let her friends speculate. The truth was, I wasn't angry anymore. Just free. There's something liberating about watching the house of lies collapse and knowing you were smart enough to get out before the roof caved in. And Elise? She built that house herself. All I did was shut off the power. By the time week 2 rolled around, I had her blocked. Phone, email, socials, everything. Let her scream into the void. I wasn't going to hear it. But oh, she tried. Messages came in through fake numbers. An email from Claire Designs about a custom suit fitting. Clever, Elise. Almost. Another time, I got a Venmo request for $1.11 labeled talk. Real subtle. Then the knock came. It was a Sunday, late afternoon. I was halfway through replacing a bathroom vanity in my new place, small, quiet, 3 towns over. Not flashy, not fancy, just mine. The knock was too familiar, too quick, then one slow. She always knocked like that. Back when that sound meant something good. I knew before I even opened the door. Elise. Hair up. No makeup. Hoodie instead of heels. trying to look like the girl I used to love. Can we talk? She said, voice soft, rehearsed. I leaned against the doorway and stared at her. Quiet. She shifted. Please. I didn't move. Didn't invite her in. Didn't offer a chair. She wasn't a guest. She was a stranger who used to wear someone I trusted like a mask. You ghosted me, she said, like she was the victim. You embarrassed me. No, I said calmly. You embarrassed yourself. I just stopped protecting you from it. That hit. She flinched. Her eyes darted, looking for some familiar version of me to plead with. But that man was gone, and in his place stood someone who no longer mistook her charm for character. I didn't sleep with him, she blurted. I swear. I smiled. And yet, you still invited him. She went quiet. I could see her working through it, trying to find the right angle, the right string to pull. But the strings were cut. You could have talked to me, she said. I did, I replied. For 3 years. Silence. Then she played her final card. You're not blameless in this. There it was. The pivot. The moment where the guilty try to shift the weight just enough to balance the shame. You work too much. You pull away. You shut down when you're stressed. I didn't know if we were even happy anymore. I almost laughed. Right. So your solution was to invite your ex, the man who sabotaged my life, to our wedding and not tell me. Bold move. Her lip trembled. It might have been regret. Might have been rage. Hard to tell anymore. I wanted closure, she whispered. I thought I was in control. I shrugged. You weren't. And with that, I closed the door. No slam. No drama. Just the sound of her breath catching on the other side. That's the thing no one tells you about betrayal. It's not the lie that breaks you. It's the insult. It's the fact they thought you were too stupid to catch it. Too soft to react. Too weak to walk. But I didn't walk. I disappeared. And in doing so, I took her power with me. She didn't knock again. She stood there for a minute, maybe 2, before finally leaving. I watched her through the peephole, not because I cared, but because I wanted to remember the look on her face. That blend of confusion and loss? That's what it looks like when control slips through your fingers and shatters on the ground. Elise had built a life out of illusions. Pretty ones. Glossy ones. And in the end, she mistook my silence for softness. What she didn't realize was I wasn't walking away because I was hurt. I walked away because I was done. Now here's where it gets good. About a week after the doorstep incident, I got a message. Not from Elise. From Darren. Blocked number. No caller ID. Straight to voicemail. Aaron, listen, I didn't know. All right? She didn't tell me you two were still together. I never would have come if I'd known. I thought it was just a party or some kind of casual, whatever. He rambled. Panicked. Weak. She told me you two were basically over. That the wedding was just formality. Man, I'm sorry. I swear. I saved the message. Then I deleted it. Because I didn't need to hear his voice again. I already knew everything I needed to know. She lied to him, too. She told him we were done. That the wedding was nothing more than a closing chapter. That she was moving on, and he was the fresh start. But the kicker? Darren wasn't a fresh start. He was a weapon. A twisted little insurance policy in case she got bored. Or scared. Or both. And the man she'd used as her backup plan? Yeah, he ghosted her, too. He deleted her on social media. Blocked her number. Even issued a quiet leave of absence from his firm if the online chatter was true. Yes, betrayal doesn't look so good on your LinkedIn. Meanwhile, I was settling into my new place. Got a rescue dog, Max Labrador mix. Brown eyes, big ears, heart like gold. Loyal without question. Funny, isn't it? A dog understood fidelity better than the woman I almost married. The best part? I'd finally started sleeping. No more waking up in a cold sweat wondering if I'd misread the signs. No more rehearsing fake smiles over dinner. No more holding my breath when her phone buzzed at midnight. Just me. Coffee. Max curled at my feet. And a quiet that didn't feel empty, it felt earned. Then came the news I wasn't expecting. Talia, her maid of honor, reached out again. I thought you'd want to know. Elise's apartment got broken into last night. She says she's fine, but she's shaken. Cops think it was random, but nothing, Talia. Some people live in chaos because they invite it. And Elise? She never locked the door on the things she should have left behind. And now? Now she's alone. No fiancé. No backup. No fairy tale. Just the sound of her own voice echoing through an empty apartment, wondering how it all fell apart. But I know how. She thought I wouldn't notice. She thought I wouldn't act. She thought I was too nice to burn it down. And the truth is, I didn't burn it. She lit the match. I just stepped back and let the wind do the rest. 2 weeks after her knock at my door, Elise resurfaced online. Instagram. A photo of her at some rooftop bar. Sunset in the background, wine glass in hand, that same old practice smile. The caption? New beginnings. I didn't follow her anymore. A buddy of mine sent it to me with a note. Is she for real? I didn't reply. Because yeah, she was. For her, healing meant pretending she was the one who got hurt. Me? I wasn't posting selfies. I wasn't out here hashtagging redemption arcs. I was just living. But here's where it got delicious. I told you I'd made a clean exit. Left the apartment, left the furniture, even left most of the tech behind. But there was one thing I didn't mention. See, Elise had this habit. She liked to keep our old devices, laptops, tablets, just in case. She never really logged out of anything. And me? I set up all the accounts, the syncs, the backups. So that old iPad she kept? Still connected to our cloud storage. And like clockwork, 2 weeks after her New Beginnings post, a video popped up. A short clip. Hotel room. Darren's suite. Not surveillance footage. Selfie mode. Elise. Hair curled. Makeup perfect. Sitting cross-legged on the edge of the bed. Camera tilted just right. She was recording herself. Okay, she whispered. So, I'm at the hotel. He doesn't know I invited him yet. But I think once he sees me, he'll remember. Her voice trembled with nervous energy, like she was doing something naughty. Or desperate. Aaron's been so distracted lately. He won't even notice I'm gone for an hour. She smiled into the camera. That fake, high school girl smile. Like she was 22 again and about to cheat on a midterm. Then the video cut out. She must have hit stop right as the door opened. And there it was. Proof that she'd planned it all. That Darren didn't just show up. That it wasn't about closure. It was a performance. A seduction. And I was supposed to play the fool in the background while she rehearsed her lines with another man. I saved the video. Not for revenge. I'd already won that game. I saved it because sometimes, on quiet nights, it reminds me just how close I came to marrying a ghost in a pretty dress. I never sent it to her. Never sent it to anyone. That wasn't the point. She burned her own house down and kept the lighter as a souvenir. And me? I built a new one. Smaller. Quieter. Stronger. She tried to play me. Tried to cast me as the forgettable character in her drama. But I rewrote the ending. Now she lives in reruns of a story she can't explain. And I don't live in her world anymore. I ran into her mom at a hardware store. Of all places. I was picking up sandpaper and sealant. Nothing poetic. Just life. She was in the lighting aisle, staring at a chandelier she'd never buy, talking to someone on the phone about trying to stay neutral and not choosing sides. She didn't see me at first. Not until I walked past, close enough for her to smell sawdust and distance. Aaron. I paused. Turned. Nodded once. She gave me that soft, rehearsed smile rich women wear when they know their kid screwed up but they still want to salvage something. How are you? I'm good. Her face twitched. She wasn't expecting that. I think she wanted me bitter. Broken. Maybe begging for some kind of understanding. Elise. She's having a hard time, her mom offered. A little too quickly. She regrets what happened. I didn't answer. Because regret is an apology. It's not accountability. It's just the sound people make when their plans implode. She made a mistake, she added. I met her eyes. Calm. Sharp. No, I said. She made a series of choices. The only mistake was thinking I'd forgive them. That shut her up. I left her there, next to the overpriced lighting, blinking under fluorescent truth. And just like that, the air felt cleaner again. Back home, I focused on my work. Not just the business, my actual work. Building. Repairing. Shaping things that hold weight and don't lie. The kind of things that stand up to storms. Funny thing happens after betrayal. People either drift toward the drama or away from it. My real friends? They stuck. Quietly. Without the need to weigh in. They just showed up. Brought me a beer. Helped me move. Sat in silence on the back porch and said, "You good?" That's the kind of loyalty Elise will never understand. Because when your love is a transaction, you always think someone owes you something. But real love? Real loyalty? It doesn't tally receipts. It builds. That's what I'm doing now. Not just with wood and concrete, but with people. With purpose. With peace. And Elise? I heard through someone, maybe her cousin, maybe a former coworker, that she tried dating again. It didn't last. The guy left after a few weeks. Something about trust issues. Poetic, isn't it? She spent years manufacturing the image of a perfect partner. But you can't fake authenticity forever. At some point, people see the cracks. And her whole damn life is drywall painted over rotting studs. But me? I'm solid. No rot. No lies. No soft spots. Just a man who knows better now.